Dan Galusha, and welcome to another edition of Dan's Fishing Tales. Well, I'm back again with the KastKing Zepher reel. That's the finesse style. I'll show you some photos here of what we did yesterday, where I was fishing the finesse with this and doing really well. But one problem I've run into: I used 8-pound test KastKing line, and not the Supreme one like this is. I switched. That's that black 10-pound test. I had that 8. What was happening was that line was going behind the spool, both sides. So the tolerance just wasn't right for that. And it got so bad it went on down in. I didn't even realize it, and wound around the actual spindle. It was a mess. So anyway, we're going to try it today with this 10-pound. So far, just casting. I've already caught one crappie. I was fishing another area. But we're going to go down here, we're going to cast this and see what happens. And by the way, what I'm using is what I told you I'd be using, and that's the Team Crappie Slab Dragger. That has been fantastic for crappie, and that's what I caught it on today. So let's go down here and start casting. Wind-wise, it's going to be the pits. I've decided to move because I think the fish are in the wind, without a doubt. Like I said, when I first started, before I turned the camera on, I caught a really nice crappie. Wish that had been on camera. But I do want to bring up something that I have found. This does not hold a lot of line. Remember that. This has a very big spool as far as the actual aperture. It's big. It's like this. So there's not a lot of line on here. So when I go to 10-pound test, going to be a lot less than there was with 8, but I just can't make my long cast. So let's see what happens here. We got a little bay that goes up in here. I'm going to cast up in there, and well, we're just going to try it. I mean, I'm casting against the wind with this. That's a pretty good hit. There we go. There's a start. Not the biggest bass, but we did get a bass. So anyway, that's a start with them. Like I said, I had a nice crappie before. Got a feeling the bass are up in here more than the crappie. The crappie may be more out where this runs around. We're going to be trying that too. Oh, we got another one. Another bass, smaller. Smaller bass than the last. This would be a good time to talk about slab dragger. Been wanting to, if you notice, I've been working it in different ways. It's not a bait that you're going to go fast with. And you've got two advantages this thing. One, you got that little swim tail, and I mean that's a little one. And you've got the blade. So, well, if you'll notice, once in a while I'll pump it. I'm trying to figure out what they actually want right now, and the slow retrieve is it. And I really have to slow it down because this has a 7.2 to 1 gear ratio in it. So I slow it down pretty good. You can see how this is casting into the wind. We're getting right now 15 to 30 mile an hour wind, and that is a light bait. And then casting it with this reel and this This is a handing fishing rod. It's called a Magic Soul. It's 6 foot 7 inches in light action. Another smaller bass. Oh, been a lot smaller today. Of course, I'm fishing a different lake than I did yesterday too. And fish seem that they're just in a different temperament. I don't know if it's this lake or what it is, but of course I'm using this smaller crappie lure. Actually, instead of any crappie, I'm catching all these small bass. I don't really think I'm into the area like I was earlier. That area just isn't producing that great. I'm going to try some other things. But what I might do is try a TRD, Z-Man TRD. See if maybe that could stir up some action here. Got one rigged here. This is what I wanted to show you. I'm going to make a long cast there. Here's how much line is left with the 10-pound test. You can see it black, and of course spool is an orangish color. And so it shows you right there how much line, not a lot of line left, so you do have to be careful that way. It's unbelievable how long a cast you can make with this finesse thing with those light lures. Well, we not only changed locations, but we changed days. Second day, Don Banning invited me to come to his little favorite lake, and I just caught a real nice bass. Show you a photo here. Didn't get that on camera, didn't have it set up, but I caught it on this right here, this micro TRD. It's a finesse, and it's not the micro actually, it's just the straight finesse one. The micros are much smaller than this. But what I'm gonna do, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna switch back to this one that we were using before. That's the Team Crappie. It's the Slab dragger. Now we're not going to catch any crappie because there are no crappie in this lake. Never have been any caught that I know of. Bass mainly, and some nice bluegill. I guess there's some catfish here too, I don't know. Never caught one of those either. But anyway, that's what we're going to put on there. And well, let's start fishing. I don't have a 4-inch worm with me, or I would definitely put one on, because I've done very, very well before when I fished with Don here, a 4-inch. But I've also done pretty good on that one that I already caught that one on that I showed you. Surprised though, it's just like they want something to hit that moss, and that's the way things have been here. Yeah, we got one. Got one on the finesse. Got one, Dan? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of moss. A lot of moss. Not real big. More moss than fish, but okay. I got one out there on the on that ledge I was telling you about. He's not real big, but he's fish. Not too bad. Not for this place. This place don't have a lot of big fish. that one earlier that I showed you the photo of, that's about it. But about 13 inches, I guess, something like that. You can see what this reel will do. And I've told you all the little quirks with it. And the fact now that we fished in the wind, we fished in very calm conditions today accordingly. And not too bad. That came on that TRD, that Finesse TRD. But yesterday, of course, we were getting most of them, in fact all of them, on that other one that we had here, the Team Crappie Slab Dragger. And I'll tell you, when I get into some big crappies, you want to go with that. The crappies just weren't hitting in that lake we were at yesterday, and there's some nice crappies there. But I was in another one, probably, I don't know, about 2 years or so ago. And that was an old park. And I'll tell you, there's some good, I'll show you a photo here of one of those that I got. Pepper was with me then when we were fishing. And that ended up pretty good. But this reel, that's the nice thing about this. This is a casting reel, and you usually think of bass, which we were catching bass today. But with it being a finesse reel like this, you can fish well, I wouldn't go with that 8 like I did, at least not the mono. Probably not the other either. The 8 just caught in behind, as I told you. But otherwise, I mean, that's a 10-pound test, and it's what they call Superior. It's the black, you can see that, so you really can't see. It's tough for even me to see, to tie knots or whatever, but it worked. And this is a light action handing rod, like I told you before when we started, and the other day, yesterday it was, and it works just fantastic with this. And I would say, with this reel, you might go with a medium light, and this 6.667 is about as short as I would go. I have found that out and just experimenting with it. I would suggest actually a 7 to 7.5, but 6.5 is fine. 6.5 to 7.5, and you got a pretty good rod if you go with a light or medium light. I am going to try a medium. You're going to be hearing about that later, and we'll see what happens. So until next time, get out on the water and have a great day of fishing.